Welcome to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Here are your hosts, DJ Marcotte and John Soroyce. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast, the one and only working class podcast. We are the Blue Collar Ballers, John and DJ. Check us out on our Facebook page at Armchair Fantasy Football, on Twitter at Armchair FF Pod. I'm on Twitter at Armchair Kingpin. John is on Twitter at John2977. You can email us at armchairfb@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, and our videos on YouTube. Just search Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Hi, John. How's it going?
What's up? Long time no talk.
I know. I enjoyed a fun night at AEW Dynamite.
Looks like you got a souvenir.
Hung out with some friends there. Yeah, that was pretty fun. I had a good time. It was a really fun show. How'd your fantasy football weekend go?
Still pending one tonight.
Did it have its ups and its downs?
Probably do about 60%. But yeah, it had the ups and downs and crying on a few things, but can't live in the past, so yeah, we move on.
So I know we want to get to the news, John, but before we get to the news, I have something I need to talk about.
Okay.
I need to talk to not just the listeners, but one person in particular. Last week, John, I had some harsh words to say about one of our league mates.
Oh, I know where this is going.
His name's Ernie. Ernie and I have been friends for a few years, and we actually coach basketball together for our kids. And Ernie, he hurt me real bad, John, last week. He scored 13 touchdowns on me, and it hurt. It hurt really bad.
He did change his team name to 13 touchdowns.
It hurt my feelings. It ruined my weekend. I don't know. I thought about maybe just it ruining my season altogether. And I was really mad at Ernie. So I might have said some hurtful things, John. And might have made fun of him on this very podcast. Right into this very microphone. But then I had to eat my words, John.
Yeah, you ended up making a trade.
Because this weekend, when I picked up Kyle Allen on the waiver wire to start because Daniel Jones had a bad matchup and Josh Allen was on a bye, I forgot that, well, I remembered. I knew that he played at 9:30, but I was at work working really hard, and it might have slipped my mind, John. So because of that, I had no quarterback. And in a weird twist of fate, there was only one man that could help me. You want to guess who that was, John?
It was Ernie.
It was Ernie. And Ernie came through. Ernie's got Lamar Jackson, who's doing a great job for his team this year. And when Ernie could have told me to go hit the bricks and pound sand, he said, "You know what, friend? I will give you Aaron Rodgers for that 9th round pick, and $61 in fab, and Daniel Jones." Potentially. And I'll help you out because I'm a really good dude, even though I beat you and scored 13 touchdowns on you. So Ernie, this is my public apology to you. Sentimental piano music and all. I might not win tonight. I might need a Monday Night Miracle from Aaron Rodgers and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I need 55 points from the duo, which isn't likely to happen, but I wouldn't even be in this position without Ernie. Ernie, love you, man. Love you. All right, let's get to the news.
It could happen. Lambeau Leap. They are playing in Green Bay. So let's go to news.
Love you, man.
The Tennessee Titans are going to decide on a starting quarterback for
starting quarterback
for next week. They will decide this Monday night. Mariota will go into it more under the recap, but it looks like Tannehill time.
That's all I gotta say about that.
Okay.
I'm back in the groove here, man. I missed a show at a really exciting time, but I missed a show, so I'm back. I'm ready to go.
Well, speaking of missing a show, let's go into some Giants news to come off their bye.
They suck.
Sterling Shepard, actually not coming off their bye. They play the Patriots on Thursday. Sterling Shepard
Sorry. my weekly Patriot rant. Is it bad enough that they face Is it bad enough that they face bad teams every week? But is it really necessary that Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, help me out, Saquon Barkley, arguably the best running back in the league, Wayne Gallman? I mean, is it really necessary for them to get all these good things to happen to them when, let's face it, they're bad people?
No, like I said,
they're bad people.
If Ingram or Barkley would have played, it would have been a different game.
No, it wasn't. But New England struggled again, by the way. Anyway, I don't want to derail this, but they struggled in the first half against this defense, which is terrible. Let's hope they don't play a good team, John.
Won't be this week.
No, it won't. And it won't be when they play the Cowboys.
Speaking of Giants news, Sterling Shepard is a long shot to play this week. He's still in the concussion protocol, so his chances are slim, but they have signed Benny Fowler to replace him as of now. Saquon has a good chance to play this week. Fingers crossed. And Evan Ingram is practicing on Monday, so which means his chances are very good.
Good news. Get up to the microphone here. Good news for Daniel Jones here.
He gets his weapons back. It should help him upgrade a lot more. Patriots are getting an upgrade. I haven't heard any news on Josh Gordon with that injury, but I think he will miss some time. But
that's a downgrade.
Updates, yep. But N'Keal Harry has resumed practice, and it looks like he may start this week.
I love N'Keal Harry. If he's on the waiver wire, go fetch him, because he could turn out pretty good.
Oh, on the other side of the ball, Kansas City has optimism that Sammy Watkins will play Thursday night. He was limited in practice today.
Yeah, we'll get into it in the recap of this past week with KC and Mahomes maybe not being Mahomes. Everybody's freaking out. We'll talk about it later, but I'll tell you why you don't need to freak out.
Next bit of news, Dallas Cowboys' Amari Cooper has a bruised thigh. Right now he did not practice today. Something to monitor, but they haven't ruled him out yet or anything, so just keep an eye on this injury.
Fire Garrett.
Speaking out, Will Dissly is out for the year, torn Achilles.
That's a shame. So would have gone up against Will Dissly this week. Never want to root for an injury, but I got lucky with this one. But get well soon.
Sam Darnold receives a weapon back. Chris Herndon activated back from
suspension. You really struggle with that one.
Yeah.
Say it with me. Herndon.
Chris Herndon activated back from suspension.
Is he good to go, though, physically? Because I know he was hurt, right?
Right now, just as they activate him, he was hurt in practice last week.
He was active last week, right? I thought he was off suspension last week.
Maybe he was hurt then. I don't know.
But maybe they didn't activate him because he was. Yeah, maybe it's because he was hurt.
So definitely upgraded tight end for them. Gives him another weapon in that offense. And then Marquise Hollywood Brown, for his ankle, is considered day-to-day.
Yeah, I like Hollywood a lot.
So the offense actually still looked pretty good without him, but it would have looked a lot better.
Well, Lamar Jackson's running like he did last year. I mean, dude, if that guy, and we'll talk about it, if he could ever put together a strong passing game and a strong running game, he might score 100 points. The guy's ridiculous.
He's already breaking his own pace of last year for rushing yards.
I have to pick between him and Deshaun Watson every week in Dynasty. Good problem to have.
Yeah, I know, that's horrible.
Yeah, I know.
Here I am, like, Minshew, Stafford.
Dude, I traded you Big Ben, didn't I? Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah. Where's Big Ben right now? On the IR.
Cringe emoji.
So, let's start with... What game you want to start with? Thursday night's game?
Well, hold on there. You might have caught me off guard a little bit. I'm a little rusty, John. No, we're not going to start with Lions and Packers because that hasn't happened yet. Actually, let's start with that. Let's do a little prediction action on that one. How do you think that's going to go tonight? You think I'm going to get my 55 from MVS and A-Rod? Probably not, huh?
I think it's a shootout.
I hope so.
I think it's a shootout. I will use my most famous comment, divisional rivalry. These guys go back and forth all the time.
So you got Monday Night Football. You've got primetime. You've got Aaron Rodgers. You've got division rivalry. You've got two teams that can put points and yards up. And I think it could be a shootout. I don't know whether or not I'm going to get those points from those guys, but I mean, a little late for start sit, but I anticipate a pretty high scoring affair here, but I could be wrong. Could go either way, but I think with all those factors, it's in Green Bay, it's cold, it's like 46 degrees there. I think it'll be a shootout.
Oh, remember, whoever wins this game gets the top spot in the NFC North. So
yeah. So do you think it's MVS? And don't say MVS for my benefit, but MVS or Geronimo?
Last week was Geronimo. So
but not really though. Like he didn't have that great of a
No,
game.
but like I don't know if it's a trend I'm watching. It's their stats. They go back and forth. So it's an Allison week and then it's an MVS week.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's an MVS week.
MVS is a good start because I think he is because he's got that field stretching capability, and if it is a high-scoring game, then that, I think, would come into play.
The only thing I haven't heard yet is if Darius Slay is playing.
I'm not sure, honestly.
If Slay is playing, Slay would probably line up against...
we'll see. That's a tough one.
Yeah, really against MVS. If he's not, it's an upgrade for MVS. But I just think this game, I see like 33-31 written all over this.
Unlike the next game, the first game that we'll talk about, we'll go into the Wayback Machine and talk about the Giants and Patriots. Not a ton to talk about here. I mean, not a good game for Daniel Jones, only 161 yards. But the guy's a rookie, and look, we just talked about all the talent, John, that he didn't have on the field. I mean, Golden Tate had a huge game. And that's surprising because I felt like, given the fact that he was far and away the best talent on the field, that New England would try to do the whole shut down one guy thing, and they would try to do it with Tate. But if they tried, it didn't work. Tate scored a touchdown and 6 catches for 102 yards. That's pretty much it for the Giants, though, sadly. And New England won another game against another bad team. Brady threw 334 yards, but no touchdowns in the air. But Sony Michel owners, which we are among, he vultured 2 touchdowns. And not only that, he got a carry from like the 3, which wasn't even that's, first of all, it's a good way to get your legendary Hall of Fame quarterback hurt. Am I wrong?
It is.
Second of all, I feel like that probably would have gone to Sony Michel, and then Brandon Bolden got the other touchdown. So that's a big takeaway for me from this game, John. Edelman had a great game too. But that was the big takeaway for me is it's Belichick. He's childish. He's going to, I don't know, Sony ticked him off, so he's not going to let him have the goal line carries. So that when you play New England Patriot running backs, you got to factor that in. You got to bake that in that he may have a good game, and he had an okay game, but he didn't really benefit because he didn't get the goal line carries. He had a couple catches for 27
No, that's
yards.
the promising part is that he's involved in the passing game more than he ever has been. He had 3 targets, 2 catches for 27 yards.
Brandon Bolden had 3 carries, John. And one of them was on the goal line.
Yeah,
And then they ran it with, and hey, they won the game. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters to those guys. But from a fantasy standpoint, we got, 13 out of Sony in our league?
Yep.
That's fine.
I'll take it. It's double digits.
But the upside was, what if he had those 3 carries?
Oh, those 3 touchdowns, you mean?
Exactly.
Oh.
Does he convert on all of them? Maybe, maybe not.
Let's say 2 of them. We're still going to put up like 26 points.
But his ceiling is 40, or upwards of that. So it's just a little discouraging to see that, but it's baked in with Sony. But at the end of the day, John, Sony Michel's a good guy to own right now because he's getting the usage. He's got 22 carries.
And I think he'll see the usage. Gordon doesn't sound like he'll be rushed back at any time soon.
Yep.
N'Keal Harry's a rookie. Wouldn't be surprised if they lean on Michel more.
And Jacoby Myers had a decent day, too, with 4 for 54. Imagine if Edelman didn't play, as we discussed.
Oh, he would have.
His upside would have been huge.
White still being...
White had a fine day, yeah.
Yep. So, other than that, everybody else sporadically, the numbers spread out. That's something Brady does.
Of course, the other takeaway, John, is Josh Gordon had what looked like a gruesome injury. I don't, who knows when he'll be back, but like you said, N'Keal Harry is going to practice this week, so I don't know if they're activating him now because he's eligible or if they're activating him now because they think Gordon's going to be out a long time. I don't know.
I haven't heard any updates on...
I know. I don't know what the situation
on
is.
On Gordon, the only thing I heard or read so far is that he avoided a gruesome injury, so...
It looked really bad.
My guess is a week to 2 weeks until being speculative on that, until I hear more, but they're definitely down a receiver, and Philip Dorsett was out last week, so he may be returned this week, but their receiving core is not looking good.
It isn't, but they're so deep at receiver. Like, look at the talent level. N'Keal Harry has alpha-level talent, and of course Edelman is what he is, the best slot receiver in the game right now, bar none. They don't really have a tight end to speak of, but Philip Dorsett has played really well for them. So they're not deep in terms of body count at receiver, but they're deep in terms of talent.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Gordon. I don't want to skip him, but it's all if they're healthy or if they're not. And I think with Brady, all he needs is Edelman, and he can figure it out with the rest of them. If Edelman's not on the field, though, it could be trouble. But he's out. I mean, the guy's a gamer. You got to give him credit. He doesn't miss games if he can avoid it, even when he has a concussion.
Speaking of gamers, that defense has kept him in so many games this year.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, bash on the Patriots," but they haven't. So there's two sides of this coin. Number one, are they that good? Because look at who they've played. They've played nobody.
No, but I'm just saying.
Nobody.
At the point, statistically, they're rated in the top 10 in their defense. I know we don't play defense in our league, but I'm just saying.
We don't.
Yeah.
And my question is, how real are they? So from a football standpoint, I'm not so sure they're as good as their fantasy numbers indicate. But if you look at their whole schedule is easy from top to bottom. So if you're in defensive leagues, I mean, at this point, you don't have the Patriots, and if you don't have the Patriots, you're not getting them. Because I've heard, situations where guys are offering up, players like Fuller or Disley for Patriots D.
Oh, no.
And they're getting declined.
Like I said, the Patriots D is rated up there in the top 10 overall for points. I mean, it's just these turnovers they've been getting. A fumble recovery for a touchdown, a pick six. I mean, they're just putting up points.
And as long as they're playing bad teams, which they will all year, if you have playoff leagues like we do, you might not want to go with the Patriots because they'll actually potentially play good teams, but they're not during the regular season.
I think they play the Jets this upcoming week.
And frankly, I'm not convinced they're a good team. They beat Jason Garrett. That means nothing. That guy's an absolute buffoon. But if they're your MVP if you have them, if you're in a league that has defense special teams. For sure. Panthers Bucks, John.
It was in London.
Yeah, it was in London, and I didn't wake up in London, but
threw you off.
I went to break a little too late at work and found that I didn't have Kyle Allen, but my boy Ernie came through for me. So Kyle Allen had a decent game, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, around 25 points in our league, John. We kind of talked before the show about Cam Newton and the buzz that Kyle Allen may remain the starter. Well, I can tell you, folks, that that's just silliness. That will not be the case. Cam Newton, when healthy, is 3 times the quarterback that Kyle Allen is, and the Panthers know it. So if you get Kyle Allen, don't anticipate that being the case, I can assure you. Christian McCaffrey, 22 carries for 31 yards. Is he wearing down, John?
No. The Bucks D-line is legit. Their front 7 is legit.
1.4 yards per carry.
No, the Bucks did this to him last time, too. For some reason, he cannot run the Bucks front 7, but they do get killed in the receiving portion of it, though. I mean, he still gets an open space.
Yeah, he did with but again, John, 4 catches for 26 yards and a touchdown. Those aren't Christian McCaffrey numbers. They really aren't.
No. But I mean, his usage is through the roof. But I mean, he's still.
And the Bucks can't. The Bucks are bad against the pass. So, just an interesting game this week for McCaffrey, where the guy's been getting insane usage for the first 5 weeks, and it just looks like he wore down a little bit this week. I'm not saying that that's something that you're going to see moving forward, but it's just a vibe I got. DJ Moore had a good day, 7 for 73. And Curtis Samuel had a good day as well, 4 for 70 with a touchdown. Great matchup, though, John, for these guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Olsen, 4 for 52. Not bad. Not bad for the tight end position.
Not bad for how old he is either.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
So what about Tampa, John?
Tampa, Winston is a turnover machine, but granted, he still put up quite a bit of, 25 fantasy points, I believe?
Yeah, I think Dan in our league, he's like, Winston threw however many, how many picks did he have, John?
He had
5 interceptions.
5 interceptions.
And he got like 25 points.
There's only one person with more interceptions in the league than him, and that's Baker Mayfield.
Shockingly.
So Winston was 30 of 54, 400 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions, and he did nothing with his legs. He had 1 attempt for 1 yard. The backfield, the running backs did not do much because they got behind in this game, but...
Do you hear that in the distance?
The one person...
Do you hear it? Is he coming back, John?
The boogeyman had a rushing touchdown.
The boogeyman.
He had 1 carry for 3 yards.
I know, if he actually got more carries, this team's got to realize at some point, go get Dare if you got space on your bench, because the cream has got to rise to the top. Peyton Barber, 8 for 28, 3.5 yards a carry. Ronald Jones, 4 for 10, 2.5 yards a carry. And again, Dare's yards per carry weren't great, but when you only get 1 carry for 3 yards.
But when he can do it all, he had 5 targets, 3 receptions for 22 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, for a guy who played very limited, had 11 points.
He is their best running back. And I know Carlos Hyde had a big week this week, but it reminds me of Houston. Duke Johnson's their best running back.
But they don't utilize him.
They don't give him the usage, but holla at your boy, Dare, the boogeyman, made it happen this week.
On the receiving side, where Winston got most of his yardage, Chris Godwin, thank you for helping me win our week. He's
just a wonderful man.
Yes, 12
really
targets, 10 receptions for 151 yards. Mike Evans, 17 targets, 9 receptions for 96 yards. I did watch this game. He dropped a 50-yarder, I believe a 60-yarder, so his stats would have been over 200 easily if he did not drop these.
O.J. Howard's still ineffective. Cameron Brate had as many receptions as him, but caught the touchdown. They throw to Cameron Brate and not O.J. Howard in the red zone.
Did you see the thing about O.J. Howard on Twitter in regards? He was at a Tampa Bay Rays game. And I guess he caught a foul ball, and they're like,
I did.
Yeah, there's more catches. Yeah. He's catching more foul balls than he has passes.
They got to trade that guy. They're not using him. I guarantee you there's teams like, I bet Dallas would be interested. I bet New England would be interested. I mean, Dallas needs a shot in the arm. You know, there's other teams out there, too, that would benefit greatly. I don't know if Gerald Everett's for real. I don't know. We'll touch on that. But, you know, there's a lot of teams that are contending teams or potentially contending teams that would utilize this guy, and Tampa's just not using him. They're using Cameron Brate, so why do you need O.J. Howard? You could probably get a decent pick out of him. Just really, I don't know, man. I thought Bruce Arians was like this intelligent coach. He's getting 2 of his better players, Dare and O.J., and neither of them are doing anything because they're just not getting the usage. I thought this guy was like a genius or something.
It's still early, though. We're about a third into the season.
Yeah, okay.
So what's the next game up?
Next game is Seahawks-Browns. You want to kick that off?
Yeah, sure. So the Seahawks won 32-28 over the Cleveland Browns. Russell Wilson for the Seahawks continues to just... He's not even getting the credit he deserves, but he was 23 of 33.
Well, last week a couple weeks ago he wasn't that great, but overall he's
been really good.
Yeah.
He had 295 passing yards, 2 TDs, 0 interceptions.
3 total TDs.
Yep, and then with his legs, he had 9 attempts for 31 yards and a TD, so he's got the little Konami code still going for him. Actually getting better with that.
Yeah.
On the rushing side portion, Chris Carson had 24 attempts for 124 yards and 1 TD, and he also chipped in 4 targets, 4 receptions for 35 yards. So a decent day from Carson here. Penny I believe Penny was ruled out, wasn't he, at the last minute?
He was, and, you know, everything's going Carson's way again, man. Little discouraging, though, that Penny can't seem to get on the field. I mean, I don't know what the story is there, but the guy's really good. And, of course, Chris Carson went against me, and Rashad Penny is all of a sudden inactive. It looked like he was trending to play.
Yep.
With that being said, Carson had an excellent day. Really good matchup, too, so that never hurts. But, hey, points are points. Russell Wilson, same deal, man. The guy's just playing lights out. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett
He's spreading the ball out here pretty good. Lockett had 5 targets, 5 receptions for 75 yards. DK Metcalf, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 69 yards.
How old is Russell? He's got to be like 30, maybe.
29, I think.
He's got some years to go. If they can further develop DK Metcalf, bro, this guy's going to be sickening.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's as raw as they get. And he's consistently performing as a rookie at the receiver position, John, which is not common. You know, he's having I would say, a great rookie season. And his ability, I mean, he could be a Julio Jones level talent if they can polish this kid. You know, if you're in Dynasty or Keeper Leagues, I'd be very interested to see what kind of price tag is on DK, because I think the sky's the limit for this guy. I like him a lot. I don't think he's even come close to scratching the surface.
No. Still way too raw.
Nick Chubb's scratching the surface with 6.1 yards per carry, 20 carries for 122 yards. But didn't get it done because Baker... I mean, he threw a touchdown, but he threw 3 picks, dude. And he got a touchdown on the ground, too. So his day was salvaged by that, but he just... I don't know, man. I almost feel like it's so... I said he's a cut candidate, but I almost think he's a buy low candidate because his playoff schedule is decent. But man, like I said it 2 weeks ago. I said it last week. Baker's a cut candidate at this point.
I don't think it's his offensive line. So unless Chubb is just that extraordinary that he can run with a bad line.
So if Chubb is successful with the line,
exactly.
I mean, but the line is a contributor. They have not given him time, John. They just haven't. And there's a difference between an offensive line being good at run blocking and an offensive line being good at protecting the passer. And that's not something they're good at right now. Odell had a bounce back game, 6 for 101. Ricky Seals-Jones had a bounce back game, 3 for 47 and a touch. And then Landry came back down to earth. It's just not a situation.
They don't share it.
Yeah, they just Baker can't support all these guys, so there's a high level of risk.
But it's partially
outside of Chubb.
It's partially Landry's fault because he even said he's the one who tweeted out, "Let's get Beckham the ball more."
Yeah.
So he hurt himself here.
No, and I don't think Landry cares about the stat
No,
line.
he doesn't care about fantasy at all. He
No.
just wants a win, and I think that's what they're discouraged about. But there's
another mouth to feed coming too with Kareem Hunt coming back too, John. I mean, what is his impact on this offense? Does he? I mean, I got news for you. If Kareem Hunt starts to make this offense better, he will cut into Nick Chubb's workload. It's gonna happen.
He will, but I
case.
think it'll be more Chubb's backfield will lose. I think if anything, Hunt will be.
I'm not saying he'll lose it. I'm just saying, does he take 25% production out of Chubb? And if he does, that's a big impact.
I say 30%, and the only reason I say that
that's a lot. That's a lot.
No. I think Hunt's going to be involved in the. He'll be the third down back. I really see that happening. Chubb, they're going to rest him more. I mean, all depends on their record too. If they have nothing to lose, but they don't want to hurt him either, so he could be the change pace back, third down back. So I mean, Chubb's having a great season so far.
Yeah, he's a workhorse back. Nothing more, nothing less. He's doing a great job. But they scored 28 points, John. So that's good, but at the same time, it's.
No, the bad part is it's their defense still. They were up 21-0. Seahawks came back. Yeah. And then Browns came back, and then the Seahawks came back. So their defense just fell apart. Sounds like.
But they put 5 TDs on the board. You know what I mean?
Does help.
This is a resurgence against a Seahawks D that's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. But I think he's again to go back to Baker. He's a guy if you can afford to stash him and use him in the fantasy playoffs. I think he'll be an asset to you. But otherwise, his matchups are just too difficult. It's unfortunate. All right, moving on to the undeniable Kavorka that is Pat Mahomes. The Chiefs lost, so there's some chatter that Mahomes has been having issues as of late, but the dude only threw for 273 yards, but threw for 3 touchdowns as well.
Only 273 yards.
And an interception, but people are watching the games and saying, oh, this isn't like Pat Mahomes. I mean, what more do you want from this guy? Again, Homeboy is making household names, John, out of Mecole Hardman. Making household names out of Demarcus Robinson. Making household names out of Byron Pringle.
But
the guy with the mustache on the chip jar.
The other part of this, though, we don't know. I know Mahomes said his ankle was fine, but I watched that game. He looked a little limited. Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong. He didn't look like he was running at his full capacity, but the guy got Tyreek Hill back, and you know who is running at full capacity, dude? Deshaun Watson. No shame in losing to that guy. Actually, Deshaun Watson, if you're watching the game, I actually watched the game. His numbers would actually be better if Will Fuller didn't drop 3 touchdown passes.
Hey, but you know what? You really can't crap on the guy when he caught 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah. But Watson, if you watch the game, was upset because he threw the ball perfect. Fuller in and out of his hands.
But I wouldn't make too much of that, man, because Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller have such a good relationship and generally really good chemistry on the field. Just guys have bad days sometimes, and that's obviously what happened with Fuller this week. Still caught 5 catches for 44 yards, but obviously not what you want. But I will say, these guys will be fine. Will Fuller and Deshaun Watson will be fine.
Watson had a great game overall still, but you're talking if Fuller caught those touchdowns, he would have had 4 passing TDs and 2 rushing TDs.
Oh, right, bro. I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, Will Fuller really built Deshaun Watson up. That rookie season, it was all deep touchdowns to Will Fuller. So I think their relationship will be fine. I'm sure Watson was frustrated, but he also had 10 carries for 42 yards. Did Deshaun Watson. DeAndre Hopkins, are you concerned? Because this is like 3 games in a row where it hasn't been DeAndre Hopkins level, production.
I'm not concerned because his target share is really high. He did drop a touchdown because he turned before he caught it, which that's not like Hopkins do, and to drop a ball at that.
Yeah.
I think this week he should have had that TD. I don't think I wouldn't be concerned here. He still had 14 fantasy points. I mean, do you want to see those TDs? Yes, I'm concerned a little bit on that, but I think they will come. I think teams are just double teaming him more and leaving Fuller open, and I think Watson sees that, and that's why he's throwing to Fuller. Yeah. So it's just a matter of time. I mean, Hopkins dropped, like I said, he dropped that pass.
Darren fell 6 for 69. That was interesting to see. So it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it went from Akins to Fells.
Yeah, and then that's about it, really. I mean, Kiki QT 4 for 39. Obviously not an every week start. Carlos Hyde, is he an every week start, John?
No, it was just this week.
Yeah, 26 carries. I don't know where that came from, but definitely the offense went through him in large part. And they had the lead, I think, most of the game, right, John? I mean, you watched it.
Yeah,
I didn't get an opportunity.
It was back. Kansas City actually had the lead. Houston came back. Then Houston scored again. It was a very close game, and I believe halftime Houston was winning by 1 point or 2 points. I can't remember now. It was 23-17. I'm sorry, at the half with Houston leading, but Houston just. Watching the game, Watson kind of was at first getting a rush by Kansas City, and if you watch the game, the corners were playing a cushion, same with the secondary. So Watson noticed that he just started throwing short throws to Hopkins, QT, Fuller, these little short passes, and he just started picking them apart, which opened up the run game.
There is hope for the AFC, especially after Brady retires with Houston and Kansas City. These are 2 great young quarterbacks. I don't know that Houston's all that well coached. I think Kansas City is, but definitely 2 really good teams. And I think if you had if these teams played each other 10 times, they'd each win 5. That's where I stand on it. Anything else? What are we missing?
You want to go to the Kansas City? We're missing the Kansas City.
Yeah, sorry, bro. I get excited.
So Damian Williams comes back and becomes irrelevant on the rushing. He had 1 attempt for 6 yards.
I mean, Andy Reid said in the offseason. What did he say, John, in the offseason? This was going to be what?
A committee by backfield.
Yeah, running back by committee. And that's what it is. So
yeah, he did.
I guess he wasn't lying.
He did have a TD and 1 reception for 14 yards on a TD. The surprising point was Hill, because they kept speculating if he would play or not play. He did get cleared and played, and he opened up a game with a leaping. I mean, over the defender catch. It was amazing. But Hill had 10 targets, 5 receptions, 80 yards, and 2 TDs. He's right back to normal.
I was going to say, Hill picked right back up where he left off. Outside of that, nobody really popped. Kelsey even had a disappointing day with 4 for 58.
Other than that, Hardman had a couple. He actually stats don't reflect it, but he actually had a couple passes called back because of holding. So his stat line would have been a lot better than those. A lot of penalties in this game, both sides of the ball.
Household name because of Pat Mahomes, because of the undeniable.
And he's a rookie, too, so imagine how much better he's going to get.
Because of the lure of the animal.
So what's the next game
Redskins Dolphins, man. They're really excited to get. I thought that this could have sneakily been like a big fantasy bonanza. It didn't really turn out that way, but some pretty good numbers from some guys. Talk about Case Keenum, John. 2 touchdowns, 166 yards, but not a terrible game. The touchdowns definitely saved him. And it's what we expected from Adrian Peterson. It was going to be a run-heavy scheme against a team that can't stop anything. So he had a pretty solid day, 23 carries for 118 yards. Chris Thompson only had 3 carries on the ground, only caught 2 passes. So a pretty disappointing day for him. I thought he had a pretty good chance to break out this week, but didn't really happen. But Terry McLaurin, a.k.a. as we like to call him, McLovin, just balled out again.
Yeah, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 100 yards, and 2 TDs. He actually helped my fantasy team this week, so he still looks like the favorite target.
He's the real deal, bro. He's almost matchup proof at this point on the Miami side of the ball.
You don't like Drake. You don't like the Drake. Hate the Drake.
I love the Drake.
How could you not like the Drake? Who's the Drake?
Who's the Drake?
The Drake is good.
Drake was actually good this week, John. Does that amaze you? I mean, it wasn't great.
He wasn't great. He put up double-digit fantasy points, which we really haven't seen from him.
But 10 carries for 40 yards. I mean, that's 4 yards a clip. That's pretty darn good. And then 6 catches for 30 yards on 9 targets. That's really encouraging. So if you can see that every week, Kenyon Drake is startable. But again, great matchup, right? So is that his ceiling? I'm afraid that it might be.
It could be. What do you think about Walton?
I mean, I like what I saw. He was more efficient than Drake on the ground. He had 5.3 yards per carry, 6 carries for 32 yards. And then in the air, he caught 5 balls for 43 yards. He looked, I mean, coming out of college, he looked pretty good, but he was going to be sitting behind Joe Mixon over there in Cincinnati. Had some off-the-field problems. Maybe just to get out of Cincinnati, maybe he just got arrested so he could leave that terrible team, but then unfortunately ended up on another terrible team. So
there is rumors.
I guess maybe not, but Mark Walton looked really good.
Yeah, there is rumors about Drake possibly being traded too before the deadline, so I guess it's a wait and see. And then it looks like Fitzmagic made his way back into this game.
I think, man, and again, I love playing I love playing fantasy football, but I love playing fantasy football in terms of where the guy could go. Like, Kenyon Drake is so much better than any running back that's in Tampa. I think he is, at least. I mean, maybe that's just being proven wrong, but I think if Drake went to a team like Tampa, he could really flourish. And Walton, that's going to be the waiver wire guy this week. Book it. I'm telling you. And as he should be, because he's just as talented as Drake if he can keep his head on straight. What about the quarterback situation? Is Rosen playing next week? Like, what's the story there?
As far as I'm reading right now, Rosen is still their guy.
Got dramatically outplayed by Ryan Fitzpatrick here. Dramatically outplayed. 7.3 yards per pass for Fitzpatrick as opposed to Rosen's 3.4. And, of course, Rosen threw 2 picks. Fitzpatrick, 0 picks. 71.3 QBR, 106.7 rating for Ryan Fitzpatrick as opposed to Josh Rosen, 2.8 QBR and 32.9. Rosen might not be good. I said that when he was drafted. I don't know.
I think the team's in tank mode. They say they're not, but I mean, clearly.
How can you not be?
Look who they've traded.
Yeah.
So I think there's more to come. I think in the next 2 weeks with the trade deadline looming, I think you're going to see. I think Drake disappears.
Yeah, but this was all over the place. Like, I mean, Gesicki caught 3 balls for 51. Preston Williams came back down to earth, 2 for 31 on 6 targets. So the targets are still there. Devontae Parker only 4 targets, but converted 3 for 28 and a touchdown. And again, this is against Washington, who's trash. So if you own any Dolphins or if you own any Redskins not named McLovin, God bless you and good luck, because it ain't gonna be good. It's gonna be ugly. So I guess we'll move on, John. Unless you have any pressing matters in this game. Eagles Vikings. Kirk Cousins. Was that Kirk Cousins out there?
I hate him.
Tell me more about why you hate Kirk Cousins.
Because this guy is...
I mean, he put up 333 yards on 4 touchdowns for you.
This team...
What more did you want?
I didn't start it.
Oh!
And then the team decides that we go from a running team to a completely... Now we're going to throw the ball? His attempts have skyrocketed the last 2 weeks.
Dude, but you got to look at Philly, though, man. Like, that secondary is just atrocious.
It is, but I think they got, Jalen Mills and who's the other one probably coming back?
They're going to need...
Ronald Darby, I think, this week, so...
They're going to need Deion Sanders to improve that freaking secondary, man. It's just ugly, and Kirk Cousins just carved them up. Still throw a pick against them, though. But had a great game.
4 TDs.
And John, you would have easily won if you put him in there, but I don't blame you. Stephon Diggs, 7 for 167 and 3 touchdowns. Curious how many people started him.
He was very, very not startable in most leagues. He was on
honestly,
benches.
I saw on Facebook and Twitter, people were like, "Oh, I didn't start Stephon Diggs," and I'm like, guys, who's blaming you? Like, you know what I mean? The guy's a powder keg.
You didn't see it coming,
right? Absolutely. You certainly didn't see that coming. I don't know if Noah started him in our league. Did he? So he definitely benefited. But there were a lot of people that didn't, and I get it. And you know what? You could start him next week, John, and get 5 points out of the guy. He is Will Fuller. He's Will Fuller.
He is.
That's what he is now.
So he's a fantasy roller coaster. He'll boom 1 week and then bust the next 2 weeks.
Yep. He's not even Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks' baseline is higher. He's Will Fuller.
I agree.
And they're like the same guy, except one has dreadlocks. Does he head? I don't know.
Dalvin Cook still continues. Rushing yard wise, he didn't look great. He had 16 attempts for 41 yards, but a TD.
So let me ask you this: what are you thinking about the 14 carries for Madison? What's that all about?
That's fourth quarter.
To quote Jerry Seinfeld.
Fourth quarter.
Okay.
Minnesota.
So this was cleanup time. Basically.
It was 31-10 after the third quarter, and basically going in the middle, like late third quarter, they started using Madison. That's what this was about.
So let me ask you this: what do you think about Madison's 4.5 yards per carry as opposed to Dalvin Cook's 2.6? Anything to see here?
No, I don't think so. Madison
does he get more carries because of this though? Even if it's obviously it's not going to be a split workload, but does he get a little bit bigger piece of the pie?
My opinion, I would say yes. Maybe not in their opinion. I only say this because the Vikings, where they won, are now, well, they're still competitive, but now they improved the 4-2. And Cook's long-term, here's the thing about Cook is he's not known for playing all 16 games. I think you keep him healthy and use Madison as a change of pace back more, especially if they have a chance to crack the playoffs. Yeah. So, I would use him. He's the handcuff to own because he sees the time regardless. His team doesn't...
I'm going to say this again. There's only a few running backs that I'll say this about. Tony Pollard's one of them. I think Reichwell Armstead's one of them. Bonifon's one of them. Edmonds is one of them. If you have Dalvin Cook and you don't have Alexander Mattison, you're a dum-dum. It's plain and simple.
Yep.
Especially given Dalvin Cook's injury history. Adam Thielen, solid game, 6 for 57 with a touchdown. It's just those two guys. That's all he throws to is those two guys.
Yeah, Rudolph.
And sometimes he doesn't throw to one, and sometimes he doesn't throw to the other, and sometimes he doesn't throw to both.
And this was probably Cook's one of his more limited games. He only had 2 targets for 2 receptions for 13 yards. He's been seeing, 5 or 6 targets out of that backfield.
Yeah, Diggs saw 11 targets, John. You know what that is. That's the squeaky wheel getting the grease right there. That's exactly what that is.
They're trying to keep him happy.
Is it sustainable? Wait and see. I'd still rather have Tyler Boyd all day this year.
He still could be traded.
Would you agree with that? Tyler Boyd or Stephon Diggs?
Tyler Boyd more consistent.
Rest of the year.
I mean, Boyd had a bad game this week.
He had a rough game this week, but that's his first one really this year that's really rough. Diggs has done that to you almost every week. So, moving on to Philadelphia. Miles Sanders, 3 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown, but only 3 carries, John, as opposed to Jordan Howard's 13.
I don't get this. Clearly, he's the better player, but they continue to use Howard like the premier back.
Are we surprised, though? Because this is Doug Peterson. This is what he does. This is his M.O. He does not have a workhorse back, and I thought this year that it would happen with Miles Sanders, given his talent level. Miles Sanders would have had an even greater collegiate career had he not been on the same team as Saquon Barkley, John. So, and you know that. But it is what it is at this point. Alshon Jeffrey had 12 targets, 10 catches, reeled in almost all of them for 76 yards. So the yardage really isn't where you want it to be with 10 catches, but he caught a touchdown, had a good game. Zach Ertz didn't. What's that all about?
To be honest, it's the Vikings defense.
You think so?
Yeah, some of it is.
Yeah, Ertz is fine. But Goddard caught 5 for 48. What's that all about?
I think it's just they tried to...
Is he going to do a split tight end field?
No, I don't think so. I think
tight end by
this
committee.
Week the Vikings know that Ertz is one of Wentz's favorite targets, or Ertz is just targeted a lot. I think they just got him involved more to...
I was surprised,
spread the ball out.
Given the score and catching up from behind. I was really surprised by that stat line for Ertz. I was happy because I was going against him, but still surprised.
Yeah, that's a bad week for him, I would say. Yeah,
that's as bad as it gets for him. I've seen him. I have seen Zach Ertz. You played him against me. Catch 1 pass and it was a touchdown.
Yep.
So that's what you got this week is as bad as it's going to get. Carson Wentz, pretty good game, I would say. 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Wentz scares me.
And 23 yards on the ground.
I don't know if I could be mixed up my weeks, but I thought Wentz came out for a second because he took a shot, but he's like 1 shot away from missing the season again. I don't know. He scares me.
Eagles fans right now are so mad at you. They're like, dude, don't you dare even say
it's that offensive line. I'm not saying it's horrible. It's just maybe it's Wentz. It's part of Wentz's fault because he holds on to the ball too long. But I feel like he's 1 shot away.
So you didn't start segueing here. Segue alert. You didn't start Kirk Cousins, but you did start The Gunter.
Yeah, the Gunter sucks for me.
Gunter, I will steal your wife. I am so sexy.
I mean, I will say this. The Saints defense is legit.
I told you.
As bad as they were rated
Well,
for...
Lenny disagrees. Lenny had a pretty good game, but otherwise, yeah, no, they're legit. And he didn't even have that great of a game. His receiving work... Leonard Fournette's great to own because his receiving work's going to give you at
And it's
least
because of
10
Minshew.
points.
Remember I said that? Ever since Minshew has come along, Fournette's passing numbers have gotten better. But for some reason, Fournette's success this time did not help Minshew like it usually does.
Right.
And this is, I believe, this is Minshew's worst game.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a
It's
feeling
not even close.
I won't start him next week. He'll go off for 50.
In case you were wondering, 14 for 29, 163 yards and an interception. Absolute meltdown game for Gunter. Fournette, 20 carries for 72 yards, 6 receptions for 46, and that was it. D.D. Westbrook was bad, 3 for 53. DJ Chark, was bad.
I knew you were going to do that.
3 for 43. It was just ugly, guys. Ugly. And New Orleans is legit, man. New Orleans is legit. And they don't even have Drew Brees. Offensively, they were bad this week.
The Saints scare me because since Bridgewater's come in and they've been without Brees, I mean, worst case scenario, like I had said when Brees got hurt, is Saints need to, like, let's say I think we're projecting 6 to 8 weeks for Brees. I said they have to win at least half the games to stay competitive. They're 4-0 right now without Brees. So if Brees comes back...
That's the difference, John, between a Jason Garrett and a Sean Payton. Right there. Period.
I mean, Payton just finds a way to get it done. With Bridgewater was 24 of 36, 240 passing yards and a TD. On the ground, Kamara was only 11 for 31, but he had 8 catches for 35 yards. I'm sorry, 7 catches for 35 yards on 8 targets. Murray looks like he's going to eat into some of that running. He had 8 attempts for 44 yards, so nice good number there. And then for receiving wise, obviously Michael Thomas, 12 targets, 8 receptions for 89 yards.
Who, John?
Michael Thomas.
Who? Is it Michael Thomas or is it Shock T? Remember, we gotta bring that nickname back.
Good old Humpty. Humpty's still...
Well, there we go.
I
look funny.
The guy's a target machine. He had 12 targets, 8 receptions, 89 yards. This guy is insane. His TDs don't seem to be there as much, but I mean, he's clearly their number one by a long shot. That's with the team.
Yeah, Shock T was he was fine for him, and that's saying something, man. We're talking about 8 catches for 89 yards being fine for a guy. That's pretty good. Michael Thomas, he good. Jared Cook caught a touchdown.
Is it me or does Jared Cook get more looks with Bridgewater in there?
He does. I don't know because honestly, Breeze's season was so short so far. It's hard to say, but I don't know. When does he do back?
He's already started. He started throwing last week.
I heard that. Yeah.
Now he started throwing a regulation ball. They said as of today. I guess I say by next week. I think they give him one more week.
We'll see. Latavius Murray was effective, 8 for 44, 5.5 yards a carry. Just didn't get a ton of carries.
He had 3 catches for 35 yards.
He did, yep, definitely. So he had a decent day.
I see here, and I could be wrong.
Kamara was banged up, though.
No, he was, but I also see... I think they're stupid not to use what they've done in the past when it was Ingram and Kamara. I can see them almost go... They're going back to this again.
And they should.
To keep Kamara healthy.
Yeah, and I think they have leaned into Kamara more because Teddy Bridgewater's out there and Kamara's more explosive and the better pass catcher. But frankly, 7 for 35, 5 yards a catch is not great, especially for a guy when you throw those underneath routes. You expect him to break big plays, and he couldn't get that done. And 2.8 yards on the ground is just atrocious.
Well, remember, like you said, though, he was hurt. And
he came into the game banged up.
Yeah.
He fumbled as well.
Yeah, so. He shouldn't have played this game. They should have just rested him, but I think they want to win. So, he played.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't want to win?
I want to win.
What is the next game?
The next game on the docket, John, is, I'm sure my son will love to talk about this game.
I already know where we're going.
He's actually rooting for them to go 0-16. I don't blame him because Andy Dalton's trash. Ravens against the Bengals. It was in the Ravens' house, and it was a close game. The final score But Lamar Jackson just, dude can run. He can run. 19 carries for, if your running back carries the ball 19 yards and gets 152 yards and a touchdown, John, are you excited?
Yeah.
You are out of this world excited. You know what the problem is? He's hurting Mark Ingram's value. He's so good at running. Ingram had 13 carries, 52 yards, didn't have a touchdown, so his day was good for you. But, and Justice Hill, by the way, the most carries he's had all season with 5. But Lamar Jackson is killing the value of his running backs. He's so good. And he still threw 236 yards, no touchdowns.
He was a hair under 400 yards.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is if he can put together a game where he's doing both, let's say 300 and 150 and like 3 touchdowns, holy cow. That's a week
His ceiling
winner.
is like 60.
Yeah, dude.
60 or 70.
That's
He
crazy.
could possibly get it.
Mark Andrews, I was so right about this guy, it's not even funny. Did I call it?
Oh, you did?
I called
8
it.
targets, 6 receptions.
And how hard
99
is it
yards.
to call a tight end?
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. Because,
It's hard.
Yeah, really hard.
Is it hard?
It's hard.
It's hard. But Mark Andrews got 6 catches for 99 yards. Dude's a beast. Excellent athlete. Ingram did add some on the through the air too, a couple catches for 22 yards. But that was pretty much it, John, for receiving.
It was the Lamar
Andrews.
Jackson. Other than Andrews, it was a Lamar Jackson show, and I can see why.
Yeah,
Ingram pitched his carries with 52 yards, like you said, in the TD, which helped. But
no, Hollywood. This reminds me of a receiving core that's literally, it's very similar to Minnesota. It's the quarterback and 2 guys. It's Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown. And I'd like to get my hands on Hollywood Brown because I think he's going to finish strong, bro. Lamar Jackson's just a beast, though. We have him on our tag team league, and the guy is matchup proof because of what he does on the ground. It's great. What about the Bengals, John?
I'm concerned about Joe Mixon. I'm really concerned.
Yes.
I'm really
if you're not panicking, then you probably shouldn't play fantasy football because you probably don't know what you're doing.
I have Mixon in Dynasty, and his butt is going to the bench.
And like they weren't getting blown. I mean, they were down 14-7 in the first, John.
It's his usage,
but it wasn't a blowout. Like the game was close throughout. The biggest deficit was a 7-point deficit, I think. Quarter to quarter in the first quarter, but they weren't out of it, and they're so dumb. Like Zach Taylor, is that his name? Zach Miller,
Yeah, Zach Taylor.
Zach Thomas,
Zach Taylor.
What's the guy from Saved by the Bell? Saved by the Bell is like Marv Lewis's like long lost love child. I mean, it started so good this season, and then they just, we're down a point. We gotta abandon the run, abandon ship. And Mixon, by the way, is an excellent pass catcher. It is criminal that this team drafted that guy. It's criminal because they don't know how to use him. They just abandon the running back position when they're down at all. Auden Tate is not going to win you a game, is he? I'll answer that for you. No, Auden Tate is not going to win you a game. If you are focusing solely on Auden Tate as your main focus of your offense, you will lose the football game, and they did. Tate had a good game, 5 for 91. But the rest of the team was deplorable.
Yeah, but 3 of those catches from Tate were like acrobatic catches. Like, I don't even know how he caught them. Like, he literally dove for one like 3 yards away.
Deplorable this offense is. 235 yards, interception. They're trying to lose. They are in a dogfight with Miami right now to get that first overall pick. I'm convinced of it. Am I wrong?
No, they look that bad, and that's why there's
They're a GD embarrassment. And I'm not saying this to pick on my son. I'm saying this because it's the truth. I feel bad for this kid because he's not a bandwagon fan, obviously. He's a Bengals fan. And he watches them every week. And this is how they treat their fans. And Dalton, just bench the guy at this point. Like, what do you get to lose, man? Just ticks me off.
Sheriff Driscoll coming back.
You better resign. Sheriff.
He's with the Lions. He can't.
San Francisco 49ers, they good.
They're really,
That defensive line is no joke, bro. No joke. They're causing some havoc, and they caused havoc for Jared Goff. 78. I'd be ticked if my running back got 78 yards, John. Jared Goff threw for 78 yards. You know what his QBR was? 1.5. Seriously?
And the scary part of this was...
And how many people do you think started Goff?
A lot.
A lot.
He was at home. He plays way better at home.
Garoppolo wasn't much better, but man, I'll let you talk about this.
Yeah, so
fired up.
Goff at home is usually really good. He was 13 of 24 for 78 yards. And then Malcolm Brown, who they touted all week to start for Todd Gurley, was 11 of 40, very ineffective.
Bad.
Darrell Henderson, though,
Looked
6
better.
carries for 39 yards. He looked like the better back to own yesterday. And he also had 1 catch for 9 yards. They mixed it up here. Robert Woods had 2 carries for 16 yards and a TD.
Tyler Higbee outperformed Gerald Everett.
Yes.
And everybody went to the waiver wire, spent a ton of money on
Everett. So, receiving wise, not much to talk about here. Cooper Kupp,
Mr.
4
Guaranteed.
receptions for 17 yards. Everett had 5 targets, 2 receptions for 9 yards, and that's about it. Higbee was the leading receiver. Higbee, or, well, at this point, not gonna be. 3 receptions for 25 yards.
Hig won't be.
Yeah. On the San Francisco side, Garoppolo managed the game.
No, let's skip. Nobody cares about Garoppolo. Limited.
Oh, George Kittle.
You know what George Kittle is? George Kittle is limitless, my man.
Yeah, but
this guy doesn't have limits.
We still got to talk about Garoppolo because
no limits, George Kittle.
Fed Kittle the ball, 8 targets, 8 receptions.
As
so he caught everything for 103 yards.
As he should, and he won the football game.
But that's why you got to talk about Garoppolo because you love him because of
I do?
Kittle.
Because
of Kittle.
Oh, he loves Kittle.
He loves Kittle.
Kittle's
why
and
you
bits.
want him staying there.
And bits and Kittles.
Running the ball, it was basically a split committee here. Tevin Coleman, 18 attempts for 45 yards and a TD. And he also had 3 targets, 2 receptions for 16 yards. The Burrito had 13 carries for 36 yards, but had 4 catches for 27 yards. Mostert went...
Listen, let's touch on Tevin Coleman real quick. Tevin Coleman is not good. He's not good. I'm not going to say he's not good. Let me dial that back. Tevin Coleman is not Matt Breida. Take those 18 carries, give him to Matt Breida, you're going to win by even more. Matt Breida is just better. I know he wasn't great efficiency-wise on the ground. He only had 2.8 yards per carry, but he still managed to have more yards per carry than Coleman, who averaged 2.5. Coleman had a touchdown that really saved his day. Breida, 4 for 27. Not a great day for either of these guys, but Breida's the guy, dude. He's the guy, and Tevin Coleman is a backup at best. A very well-paid backup. Falcons Cards, John. Matt Ryan, I tried to trade for him last week.
The guy is a passing beast. He
did not happen.
This is 6 consecutive games over 300-plus yards passing. He is on pace to break Manning's single-season record.
They still lost. They're 1-5.
Yep.
That's incredible. But their defense is just... Keanu Neal goes out and the season ends for these guys. It happened last year too. But, yeah, Matt Ryan just balling, dude. Austin Hooper, man.
He's balling.
And again, I told you, this week is a little deceiving because Arizona gives up the absolute most points to tight ends. But Austin Hooper just had a huge game. Julio came back. 8 for 108.
No TDs again.
No, he's back to that old chestnut. Calvin Ridley 4 for 48 with a touchdown. Devonta Freeman 3 for 32, catching 2 receiving touchdowns. It did well on the ground too, 19 for 88. So it's a shame that this happened because
you look at
they had such a great game.
I was going to say, you look at the stat line for Atlanta, you think they
must have won
this game, but then you look at the Arizona side of the ball and you're like, wait a minute, Arizona won?
Yeah.
So,
but Kyler Murray, and again, this is against Atlanta, but he's sneaky getting better and better every week. 340 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air.
He was 27 of 37.
He was, actually, yep. Very efficient, 90.3 QBR. He actually had 11 carries for 32 yards. So the carry count was high. The efficiency wasn't so hot. Wasn't sacked at all either. David Johnson, again, a lot of guys this week, John, running backs that were saved by touchdowns. Their days were saved.
David Johnson,
he got 6 for 68 and a touch, and he got 12 for 34 and a touch.
Yeah, but
but in standard leagues, take those touchdowns. I know it's easy to say take those touchdowns away.
Yeah, but you watched this game. I watched some of it. They were using Johnson and Edmonds back.
Edmonds had a good game.
Yeah, no, back and forth, and I think it has to do with Johnson. I know he said he could play.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was 100%.
No.
But luckily, the numbers he got not being 100% because Edmonds still had 2 catches for 33 yards in a TD and 5 carries for 34 yards. So
yeah, Johnson 2.8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Chase Edmonds 6.8 yards a carry. So that's an interesting stat line.
And I have both, thank God.
Because you finally learned after you didn't have Wayne Gallman, who ultimately went down too, and then a bunch of dummies started. Roger Hilleman or Hireman.
Oh, who? Now he's not. Now he is for hire because he's gone. He gone.
He gone. Fitzgerald does what Larry Fitzgerald does. 6 for 69.
He's Captain Consistent. He is.
Max 6 Williams 3 for 34 and a touchdown. So he had a good game.
Was that the old Max Headroom?
Max Williams. He kind of Kyler kind of threw it everywhere. David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald being the main beneficiaries, as you would say. Little surprising hearing that they wanted to use Andy Isabella more, and he didn't get used at all. So
where is he?
Moving on.
He gone.
moving on from Andy Isabella. Unfortunately, maybe he's related to Andy Dalton because I don't know. The guy's really talented, but he's just not getting the usage. Sadly.
Goose egg.
You know who's not talented?
Jason Garrett.
Marcus Mariota, who finally got benched. He wasn't hurt. He got benched
He
for Ryan
deserves to be.
Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill shockingly played better than him. Spoiler alert, Marcus Mariota is trash. Derrick Henry is, the old Derrick Henry reared his ugly head.
There we
here,
go.
John. 15 for 28, 1.9 yards a carry. But quickly on Mariota, 7 for 18 for 63 yards and two interceptions. Tannehill, 13 for 16 for 144 yards and an interception. Neither were great. Tannehill vastly outplayed Mariota, though. Adam Humphries was the leading target for Tennessee, 6 for 47. And no, I'm not laughing at anything off camera here or offset here. I'm laughing at Adam Humphries being the lead dog there. When this outstanding talents like Corey Davis and A.J. Brown are just after
this team is just pure trash on offense right now. Like I said that one week when they put up the numbers, it wasn't sustainable throughout the year, and obviously the defense has carried them this far.
It's just so funny. This team is comical. It's like a Three Stooges bit.
Oh, look. The week Corey Davis goes on me, he gets 5 targets, 3 receptions for 36 yards. Yep. And Denver.
Wise guy.
Tennessee is actually good against the run. Denver here, this surprised me. Lindsey had 15 carries for 70 yards and a TD.
Yeah.
And he also
Why does that surprise you?
Because Tennessee's good against the run.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're giving up, John.
Yeah, I mean...
We got some catching up to do. We got 2 wins. We better start losing fast.
Emmanuel Sanders, his knee limited him from what I heard. He had 3 targets, 1 reception for 0 yards. This is what, 3 straight bad games.
That's talent right there. When you catch 1 ball for 0 yards.
On 3 targets. Sutton,
Mr. Consistency,
he looks
man.
like number 1 there.
He really
has 8 targets, 4 receptions for 76 yards.
The Rolls Royce rolled out of the garage and caught 5 balls and had 34 yards.
That's why it was surprising here, because they're good against backs.
Yeah.
And he actually had 11,
not these 2 backs.
11 attempts for 34 yards. So
yeah, they both had good days. Lindsey had the better day, but again, it's a split backfield. 15 carries for Lindsey, 11 for Freeman, and the pass-catching back, quote-unquote, Philip Lindsey had 3 less catches than Royce Freeman. So interesting there. I think they're just splitting the workload altogether, and you know what? Denver won the game, so more power to them. I wish I had power in the Dallas Cowboys organization. You know what my first active duty would be?
I already know. You would fire Jason Garrett.
No, I wouldn't just fire him. I would set fire to his house.
Wow.
And then fire him because I hate Jason.
He's going
Garrett. I would make sure there's nobody in the house. But yeah, Jason Garrett's trash. He is killing this team. Dak Prescott's confidence is getting killed. But Zeke is Zeke. He is as guaranteed surefire lock as they come, and now he'll probably get hurt now that I said that, but 28 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. He scored like 27 points in our league of record. 5 catches, 47 yards. This is what you expect from Ezekiel Elliott. So I don't care if Dallas loses every game as long as Zeke's doing this every week. But outside of that, John, Tavon Austin was their leading receiver, 5 catches for 64 yards on 6 targets, which is unusual. But Amari Cooper was out. So what effect does that have if he continues to be out? Because Gallup didn't really perform well.
Gallup dropped a few passes. And the coverage for the Jets here was actually better than a lot of pass interference calls, especially in the fourth quarter. But they were pretty solid all the way around on the defense, holding these guys. And I think some of it had to do with Dallas' offensive line, having 2 starters out. It does make a difference. But the biggest thing for the Cowboys, it's the play calling, I think. And then, come on. I know you're a Dallas fan, but I'm a Van Der Esch fan. Why is Sean Lee getting so much playing time? Van Der Esch is the future. The guy is a tackling machine, but yet Lee was seeing more time than he was.
I mean, you would have to ask Guy Smiley, a.k.a. Jason Garrett.
I don't understand
I'm
this.
sure they all had a lot of pizza and ice cream after that game. But we talk about fantasy, and from a fantasy standpoint, right now it's Zeke on that team until Amari.
I still like Gallup. I think Gallup's done well.
So let's go in the Wayback Machine. Are you ready? We're going the Wayback Machine. When Dak Prescott had Michael Gallup as his number 1 receiver, neither of them were good. Neither of them. I think Amari Cooper rises the tide there, and Zeke will get what Zeke gets. But Dak Prescott, for all these Dak Prescott owners that were so happy that they had him, if he doesn't have Amari Cooper out there, it's fixing to get ugly. Just to warn you. So you might want to have a backup plan. Jets, John. Darnold looked good. I think we need to remember that Darnold has 2 really good veteran receivers in Jamison Crowder and Demaryius Thomas, and an excellent young receiver that stretches the field in Robbie Anderson. He's got good weapons.
That 92-yard touchdown, Darnold, I think, I read you a stat before the thing on my phone on, but Darnold, his past 6 games has 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He just came back from his mono here.
Is Mosley back?
No, he was not.
When C.J. Mosley comes back, watch out for the Jets, man. Watch out for them. Because their D's getting healthier, and their offense with Sam Darnold just got a shot in the arm.
The surprising thing of this game that kind of blew me away was this was Le'Veon Bell's least usage so far. He had 1 target for 1 reception for 3 yards. That was surprising.
That was a little weird, but yeah.
He still had 14 carries for 50 yards and a TD. And this is against Cowboys were considered on top D, and I think they still are. I think they're just going to get their groove back. But Robbie Anderson exploded with that 92-yard touchdown. He had 8 targets, 5 receptions for 125 and a TD.
You know what, John? When your defense is on the field a lot,
they give up plays.
Yeah, they get worn down. Any defense is going to deal with that. And again, they're coached by Jason Garrett. And when you look at penalties and mistakes, and that's just bad coaching. But yeah, no, you got to give all the credit in the world. The Jets did a great job in this game. They won the game. They controlled the game pretty much throughout. Dallas, again, like the week before, had the late comeback in the fourth quarter, but just wasn't enough. This is a typical Jason Garrett-led team. So if you got Zeke, sweet, he'll be fine. But especially if Amari Cooper's not out there, man, it's going to be ugly. It really is. Le'Veon Bell will be fine.
Oh, I think so too. I just said it was an odd stat to see only 1 target, which he's usually targeted quite a bit out of the backfield and passing. That's why.
That was strange, but they got Crowder. They got the receiving core is back and healthy, John. So that might, who knows? Maybe that is the norm. I don't think so, but game script is a big part of it as well.
Speaking out of the norm, the last game, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Chargers. Chargers just don't look like the Chargers.
In the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the first time ever, John, are officially a running back by committee. It's a thing. It really is. I mean, Benny Snell got 17 carries, John. And he basically popped right in where Jalen Samuels left off. He only had 1 catch but it was for 14 yards. But James Conner still balled out too. 7 catches for 78 yards.
Oh, here's I
think that's where the Jalen Samuel exit helps him. Is Benny Snell isn't really that pass catching running back. So as long as Samuel's out, I think you're going to see this workload for James Conner 1641 on the ground. He's still struggling on the ground as James Conner, but he did get a touchdown there as well.
The problem here, though, is you have your
air.
third-string quarterback in here.
Juju knows that all
Well,
too well.
no, that hurts Juju, and it also hurts in the aspect of James Washington was out, so a lot of young receivers had actually brought Dante Moncrief back.
I know, dude.
I don't think they had
but
a choice.
How does Juju get 4 targets? Like, I don't understand that. You're talking about a yak monster. This guy can do at least what James Conner can do, if not better, with those short and intermediate routes or the bubble screens. Like, Juju can make a lot out of that. We've seen it. We saw him do it the week before with Mason Rudolph and who's this guy? Craig Hodges.
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't panic too much on Juju here, and I think here's why.
I think you're thinking what I'm thinking, but
yeah, Pittsburgh got a defensive touchdown, went up 7-0. Then they ran the ball, they started throwing very little, but they ran the ball. Connor scores, so you're already up 14-0. Connor scores, giving a little pass.
Yeah.
You're up 21-0. There's no point, especially with a third-string quarterback, that you're going to take these shots throwing.
And it's unlikely that this is going to be the case.
Exactly. I think this was more game scripted. They were up big. They were just going to run the ball, run the clock out. They don't want Hodges touching that ball and committing turnovers.
So I agree with you partially. The other part of it is Hodges. And if you look at Mason Rudolph's first game, John, first game that he started that Monday night against Cincinnati, they eased him in. And they didn't want to go too much too soon. And I think that's what they did with Hodges here. But as a Juju owner, I would lie if I told you I'm not scared. I'm definitely scared because you're talking about a guy that is a playmaker. And in order to win football games, you give the ball to your best playmaker. Again, game script can affect running backs and it can affect receivers too. And that's definitely what happened here. But it's a little scary to see. 4 targets for your number one receiver and arguably, one of the best receivers in the league is just a little alarming. Hopefully it's not the norm, but you're going to see games like this from Juju, sadly. And it's just a tough situation. If you're a Juju owner, I'm right there with you. I hear you guys. You lost Big Ben, and hi Siri. You lost Big Ben. No. I don't mean hi Siri. You can go away now. All right, I know you're listening. Sorry about that. Siri about that. Oh no, she's gonna pop up again. You lost Big Ben. And that's the thing, John. We talk about injuries. Injuries are not just isolated to the player that's hurt and the owner of the player that's hurt. They also are connected to the players that play with that player. So if Tom Brady goes down, is Edelman? You know what I mean?
No.
If Aaron Rodgers goes down, we know Devontae Adams can perform without him, so that's a bad example. But I think you guys get the gist. And when Big Ben went down, that shifted the tide of Juju's season. And then when Rudolph went down, when he started to look like he clicked, he had a great game, John. Or at least a very good game. I think he had 17 PPR points when Rudolph was out there last week. And hopefully it's just them easing Calvin and Hobbs, or whatever the guy's name is, into the game. And of course, game script was a part of it too. But I think the big thing to talk about is on the Pittsburgh side, at least, John, is Juju Smith-Schuster's usage. To see 7 targets go to Connor when Juju is just as effective. Juju's effective anywhere on the field.
I'm just surprised with his talent, especially Tomlin's mind too, that he hasn't used him out of an end around.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not even end around, but bubble screens. Use him as a running back out of the backfield when they're catching passes. That's the type of player he is. He can be effective, and I would argue more. He's an alpha talent. James Conner, let's face it, guys. Right place, right time last year. He's not an alpha talent. And if he gets the usage, he'll be fine. He'll give you 30 points. He's got that upside. But Juju's upside is that every week if he gets the usage. And it's a little discouraging, but hopefully we see him start to click. He's had 3 different quarterbacks this year, John. So it's hard.
Well, it's like a quarterback when, you know what I'm saying?
Hard to build a rapport.
Like Alex Smith when he went through all those head coaches and offensive coordinator. You can't get better if you keep changing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The staff, the system, everything.
Do not sell Juju. If you're a Juju owner right now, don't sell him because you're not going to get what you should for him. And I think his arrow is pointing up. I truly believe that.
So, speaking of scripted, where the Chargers were down 21-0, they basically abandoned the run. Melvin Gordon was 8 attempts for 18 yards, 0 TDs.
Yeah.
He also had 4 targets, 3 receptions for 30 yards.
So, yeah. I mean, can we talk about Gordon real quick?
Yeah.
This is how many guys do we talk about in this vein? Sony Michel, Leonard Fournette. Melvin Gordon is a guy that can get you 2 yards a carry if you run him 10 times, but he can get you 6 yards a carry if you run him 25. And I don't know, maybe they're trying to ease him in, John, but Gordon needs that heavy workload in order to be effective and break big plays. I've owned Gordon. I don't know if you have. I'm sure. No, you haven't. Never. Really?
Never. No. Somebody's always had him.
So you sit there and watch Gordon play. You want to pull your hair out because this guy just keeps running into a wall, and then all of a sudden, bam, breaks a big run. All of a sudden, bam, touchdown. You need to get usage out of him, and they're not doing that yet.
But I also think Eckler, they're giving him the respect where he managed the time without Gordon.
They lost.
Yeah, no, I get that, but they have to figure that out. What I'm saying is they're giving him his fair chance. They think he earned time. But until they see that Gordon needs the attempts, that they're not going to win. They were clearly down. They abandoned the run yesterday. Eckler was ineffective as well. He had 3 catches for 14 yards. He had 5 carries for 14 yards. They went straight to pass in here. Phillip Rivers, 26 of 44 for 320 yards, 2 TDs and 2 interceptions. And we welcome back.
Yeah. This guy, just the dinner table's all set. Everybody's sitting at their chair, and Hunter Henry just comes in and eats all the food. I think it's a big part of Eckler. So Gordon needs the carries, right, and the usage. Eckler needs the targets in order to be effective or produce a high quantity of fantasy points. And Hunter Henry was just hold my beer, and just went off.
He had 9
I did not expect this.
Oh, I expected maybe 10 points.
Yeah.
And then because there was talk.
And I started Henry in my dynasty. I'm like, my week's over. And then Hunter Henry, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Just went at it.
I figured Henry would get 10 points. I started Andrews over Henry in our keeper.
I could see that.
I kind of bought into the beat reporters.
I guess the bigger question is, who'd you start in your flex?
I think it was McLovin, I think.
Okay, so you did
Or
fine.
Landry, I can't think.
If it was Landry, then you made a bad mistake.
No. Landry was in the flex. McLovin was my receiver.
But, again, with Henry, we talked about it, limited. Well, I don't know if the team ever said that.
No, reporters.
And again, if I'm a head coach, I'm going to tell, and you're a beat writer, I'll be like, hey, John, we're going to limit Keenan Allen this week. He should be limited. And then they're going to throw 800 times.
No, the only reason I bought into it more, he only practiced really Friday and Saturday. He didn't practice Thursday, didn't practice Wednesday, so you kind of think when he's in
Mark
practice...
Andrews hasn't worked on Wednesday all season.
No.
You know what I mean?
Hunter Henry hasn't played in weeks, but he had...
No, nobody expected this.
He had 2 TDs, he had 30 points, he had a great game. Another great game was Mike Williams, had 10 targets, 5 receptions, 72 yards.
Yep.
Who didn't have a great game was Keenan Allen. 6
Allen.
targets, 2 receptions, 33 yards.
So are you worried about Keenan Allen? Because he's sputtering right now.
He goes like that. I've seen this last year when you had Keenan Allen, you were about ready to sell him. I said,
I think it was the year before.
Or the year before. I said, hold on to him, he'll explode. And was it 5 or 6 straight games?
He was a league winner for me, at least in the roto.
So I think the same thing here. I don't think he's in his groove. I don't think this offense is in its groove. I think either next week or the week after they're back at full capacity, I think, again. And I think they're gonna start putting together their defense. With Derwin James out,
they've had some injuries.
They're not great, but they're not awful lot either. They have Casey Hayward, Desmond King. They have a good defense. They just got to figure it out.
Yeah, and this team coming up, they face Tennessee, that's tough. Chicago, that's tough. Green Bay, that's tough. So they don't have an easy schedule, John. So
no.
I could see more Hunter Henry weeks happening here, and then it gets a little easier with Oakland and Kansas City. But then we're right back to Denver. Jacksonville would likely to have Ramsey back at that point, then Minnesota. So their schedule's not easy. But I really think you can typically count on the usage of Keenan Allen, of Hunter Henry, maybe not so much Mike Williams. And once they get Gordon back into the groove, I think you'll see that.
It'll be a much different game.
Yeah. And none of those defenses are impossible to play against, but,
I still think that Ramsey is going to be traded before the deadline. What is it, 3 straight weeks now he hasn't played? They're saying it's injury. I don't think it's injury. I think it's a mix. He doesn't want to be there.
I mean, you're paying a guy if he's healthy, you need to put him out there. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know the whole story to this.
I don't know how they operate.
Just rumors, but they don't look the same without him over there. They're not awful, but they're not the same defense with Ramsey, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, that pretty much does it, John. Hopefully, we're praying for a Monday Night Miracle tonight for me.
Galladay.
Yeah, you have Galladay. You need 11 points from Galladay. I wouldn't consider that a miracle.
You need 55.
I need
That's
55 from A-Rod. A-Rod, come back. I want that old A-Rod. I want that guy that just RELAX, bro. Just go in there and carve up those lines and throw to MVS
I'm going to say
time.
opposite so it helps you. I know at the beginning I said there's going to be a shootout. Usually every time I say that, the teams don't do shootouts. So this is going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I really hope so. But yeah, that'll do it for today. Tomorrow we'll react to that game, depending on how it works out. And I'm having a great season, except the Keeper League, our league of record. I've got an excellent team. We can even break it down on the next show. Excellent team, just not a lot of things going my way, man.
There's a lot of things not going in fantasy, period. I mean, we can talk about that more tomorrow.
Yeah. But, that'll do it for today. Tomorrow we will talk about... Well, do we have any waiver... I guess we should talk about waiver wire stuff on Mondays now. We should probably get back to doing that. Because, we put it out Tuesday night, but...
No, most of them are obvious. I mean, but some are pending injury, so
we'll have to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
So we need to help people with waivers. We need to do that. And we had thought about doing Sunday night, but really...
We miss football.
Well, I miss football sometimes anyway.
Yeah, true.
I'm a working man. But anyway, we'll talk about a little bit of waivers tomorrow. Not that it'll be all that helpful. And we'll talk about sell high and buy low tomorrow.
Oh, I love that episode.
And maybe we'll do a lightning round on that too.
Sweet, would you rather?
I would not rather.
Okay, we'll see.
Before we go, I want to take a moment to mention our GoFundMe page at www.gofundme.com/armchair-fantasy-football-podcast. We've talked about it before. I won't belabor the point. If you guys can donate, it would be great. We're working hard on this. We really hope that you enjoy it. And just if you support us, we can keep doing it, and that's pretty much the bottom line. And even if you can share anything that we post out there on the GoFundMe, it'd be greatly appreciated. You could help the Working Class Podcast continue to provide great content and keep that blue collar ball of dream alive. We love that you listen. Keep listening, guys. We really appreciate the support. Ernie, I love you, brother. We'll dominate again this year in basketball. We went undefeated last year, just in case anybody was wondering.
Impressive.
So, just saying. Thanks, Ernie. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers goes off tonight. But if he doesn't, I probably deserve it. I love you, man.
Okay.
See you guys later.
We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you for listening to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Thanks for supporting the show. Until next time.